Okay, now you guys can see my screen, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so just wanted to have a live class sessions. Okay, so it has been long times when we had our live session. Okay, so I saw many of the questions were coming on page list. Okay, so I thought just to have a class on page list. Okay, so I'll be going through some of the scenario, and once I'll cover up, okay, maybe I'll ask that if you guys are getting it, and in between I can take a few questions as well. Okay, so we will start. Okay, I'll show you that what all things we are going to cover. Okay, in a high level I'll cover that whatever things we perform usually in any project, right? So I'm hoping that people will won't join, like, okay. Okay, so these are the things which I am going to cover. Okay, it will be a quick session only. It won't take much time. Okay, if you have any scenario you can let me know, but these are the things which we are going to cover on page list. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone knows that what is page list. If not, then maybe you can just raise your hand. Okay, and then I can talk in a minute. Okay, quickly on page list. Okay, so so just let me know if everyone knows about the page list. Otherwise, what all things we are going to cover on this one is that you can see that, like, 5 or 6 items I have written: exist, find index, loop on, delete, copy, and display. So the first one is exist. Okay, so we get this scenario very likely. Like most of the times we get that okay, you have to put a conditions, like let's say if I'll say employee ID. Okay, and that you have a page list called employee ID. So if employee ID page list have that employee ID equals to this much. Okay, then you want to perform something. Okay, that something perform can be anything. Okay, but just you need to find out, like basically you need to write a when condition. Okay, that this employee exists or not. Okay, let's say you're finding it out that in this week that who all employees are on vacation. Simple. So you can find out that if your colleague is a vacation or not. Like, okay, so you can just hard, like you can pass that on that account employee ID, and you can search that. Okay, so that's like exist. Next is find index, the same thing. So exist and find index is very much similar. Exist returns the boolean value that if that employee ID is there or not, and find index will return the index that it is there and it is there at this index. Okay, so let's say if it is there, then it will return the right index. Let's say if your like colleague is there on that 7th index in that page list, it will return 7. But if he is not there at all, then Pega that functions will return -1. Okay, then we'll loop on that page list. We will learn that how we can loop on the page list as well. Okay, so that we will see. Okay, and then delete item from page list. Okay, so I have seen that these questions, even though, like, and if you see, I have video already created video on these items. Okay, not directly in one of that, but in multiple sessions. Okay, if you see, like, in one video, I think I have created operations on page list. There is one video. Okay, in that one I have, but we don't have the live sessions. So maybe like in these sessions I will cover, and then you can ask some question also. So delete any item from page list. So this requirement also we get. Okay, in some of our scenarios that we want to delete one page list item. Okay, and most of the people try, like, remove that. Okay, try to remove that item, but remove will not work directly. It's like you are sitting on a branch of a tree and you are trying to cut the tree, so it won't work. Okay, so we'll see that how we can do that as well. And then finally I got few comments on my YouTube channel, is that, like, how we can copy an item to page, copy page list item to page. Okay, so let's say you have a employee list. Okay, and you want to copy that your friends employee details to one of the employee page. Okay, so you have employee list and you want to copy that employee list. So how we can do that, so that also we'll see. And the next is that how we can display the data also from this page list. Okay, so we can use table or repeating grid or something is there, so that also we'll see that. So this is what we are going to learn. Okay, and in today's live session. Okay, so any questions on the agenda from anyone? Okay, so we'll yeah, go ahead, someone is asking something. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so the first thing is a page list, right? So just like people are not getting confused. Okay, so the page list is anything. Okay, which like page list can be like, so like we can get the page list in multiple ways. Okay, so the one is that, let's say if I'm creating an employee list, so that will be like the page list. Okay, so that I'm creating that. So we are creating a page list called property page list. Okay, but most of the times, okay, let's say if you're running a report, okay, and that report is plugged into the database of that list, okay, or if you're doing obj browse, okay, and that data is coming on px result. So most of the times we get the data on page list. Okay, px results, so that's the out of the box property. Okay, so either we'll get the data on that one, or we can get the data on our property as well. Okay, the employee list. Okay, or we can get on px result. Okay, so you need to understand these things. So it's the same page list. So I got like few questions on this one also. Let's say that like when I'm saying that you need to run uh, something loop or something you need to do, people are getting confused. So it can be anything. Okay, so when we creating a property, okay, and then it can be like py workpage dot page list, like py workpage dot employee list. Or if you're browsing the data, so let's say you are using test page. Okay, on test page you are browsing the data, so it will be like test page dot px result. If you're bringing the data from the data page, it will be like database.px result. Okay, so all these things comes under a page list only. Okay, so I hope you got it on a high level, and I'll show you that also. So any questions before we move on to Pega from anyone?
.px results is compulsory for any page list, right?
Come again.
Px results is compulsory, right, for any page list?
No, not 100%. So you need to have a list. Okay, and that list can be, you can also create. So px result is what Pega has given a property called px result. And so whenever we create a page list property, we need to give a definition class, right? So definitions class we need to give. So px result is a property which is given by a Pega, and that the definition is base class. So on runtime, okay, we can define the in pages and classes. Okay, and we can say that this is my class for this page list. Okay, so you can do in that way, but it's not necessary that you should have the you should always have that one. What should I say? uh, One second. So you should always have that px result. Px result is not necessary that you should always have for the page list. Okay, so that concept is not 100% correct. Getting it?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Just a second. Just give me a second. We will start. Okay, so I'll jump to Pega. Okay, and I have already logged in here. Okay, so simple. So you Naveen, you are asking, right? So let's see that out of the box property which I was talking. Okay, so I'll show you the difference. Okay, so if I'll go to property and if I'll search that px result, let's say, so this is the out of the box property which Pega uses wherever we do reporting, like, sorry, we fetch list kind of a things. Okay, that Pega uses this property. So we are mostly using, we will be using the base class one. So if I open this one, you can see that the definition is a classless. Okay, so this we call like class, we are given like this is the syntax. Okay, it's like classless. So in runtime we can change that. Okay, so let's say if I'll have a data page, I should have some data page. Let me see in this class or in some class. This is just a, I have like case type, temporary case type. So we may not need much case type. So you can see that we have a list, right? So if I run d underscore code list, so this will directly put on px result. Okay, so if I'll run, okay, so this result will come on px result. Okay, so you can see that in the end the px result. And on this one, the class of the px result is px obj class. If I'll see somewhere we should have, so this class became, okay, because what we have defined here when we are fetching the data is this class. Okay, the object type class. So it's automatically that px result, it's the same px result property. it's not a different property, just that on a runtime, okay, it becomes the class of that one. Okay, so similarly, if you want to create a property also, pxl property, we can do that. Okay, but that we cannot use it here. Okay, that we can use it in our purpose. Okay, so let's say I'll just save as that and say that employee list, so that we can do that, employee list. So this we can do that. So let's say if I'm creating to our work class, so we can do that here, qtm work. Okay, and here we can give up. Now we need to change the class. Okay, so let's say I'll create a employee class. Let's say I'll just create an employee new class. Okay, so data employee, let's give a quickly create one data class. Okay, submit it. We'll create few attributes later. Okay, but for now I'll just use this one. Maybe I'll create quickly few attribute also. Employee id, submit and add another, first name, last name, I think this much should be okay. Okay, or let's say salary. Okay, and salary we can have it in decimal. Okay, so I created that. Now I can use this class. Okay, employee list. So this is also a page list. Okay, so you can see the difference. I hope you are getting the difference. So this Pega uses in most of the places. Okay, and here we are using, okay, we are creating for our purpose our own, okay, page list. Okay, so this employee page list we can use it in multiple ways. Okay, based on our needs. One is that, let's say if you want to get all the employee details, okay, we can get it directly from the data page. Okay, still people are joining, this is bad. So you can see that, okay, here we can load the data. Okay, using this page list directly, or you can like set the value also. Okay, so you can bring the value, copy the value, or you can like manually create for your employee list. Okay, using this page list. So I'll show that. Okay, and in previous class, if you see, when I like created some symbolic, like using symbolic indexes, so where we can append that employee list, so that's how we can do that. Okay, okay, so now let's go back to our the first things. Okay, so maybe what I can do, okay, I can use existing, or I'll just create a case type as well, new case type. So I'll go to case type, I'll add a case type as well. Let's say I'll just add employee case type as well, or employee. Okay, we'll just create employee. Okay, just this is a temporary, don't think this is something as a business real case type. Okay, so I created that. Now let's say that we don't need UI for now. Okay, let's say first we want to like add few items on this page list. Okay, in the meantime what I'll do, I'll create a source also for this one. Okay, so let me make this employee id as a key, employee id, and then first name, last name, and then salary. So we have 4 attributes. So the first things, I'll fill the data. Okay, so let's say employee id 1, I'm saying. Okay, salary 100. Okay, let's say I'll add employee id 2, marking do something like that. Let's say give 200, 3, I'll say Ryan, some random number, something like, let me give, let's say Ryan test, and 300. Fourth one, I'll add one more, here I'll give 500, and then 6, 5. Okay, so I've just added that just to refer that. Okay, so the first things is that, let's say I want to create an employee list, okay, manually, okay, on this page list. So I want to append some, though it is not there in our agenda, I'll just quickly show you, okay, and then, or we can fetch this data also, and we can like look up, okay. So let's say that this is there, okay. So how we can fetch this data, okay. So one way is that we have a page list is, just now I created a data type. So if I'll go in sources, we'll see that there is a list type of database which Pega have already automatically created, okay. So again, if I'll run this one, okay, so we can see that we got that list of employee, okay, in this one. Now let's say in your project requirement is that, okay, so your requirement is that if employee ID is this one, then get the salary, okay. So this is your requirement, okay. So now how we can do that, so that we will see that how we can do it. So anyone wants to tell that how we can do it? Let me know first you understood that requirement. Anyone?
Understood. Understood, sir. Requirement is clear.
Okay. So let's say the requirement is, okay, get salary by employee ID. So I mean there are multiple ways we can get that. So let's say we are trying to get it from using this page list.
We can find index, and through that index, we'll copy that to the page property so that we can copy salary based on that employee.
Yeah. So there are multiple ways. So let's say get salary by employee. Why is this echoing? Can someone go on mute? Okay. Also get salary by employee ID. So simply I'm like creating a data transform. Let's say I'm trying to get this in my case, okay. So I'm creating in work. It should not be, this is correct. Let me create again. Employee new data transform. Set salary, simple. And I'll be creating in this one. So let's say this employee ID user is entering on that field. So let's say I'll just say comment. And I'm not going, like, I'm just trying to teach here. Don't think that this is the only way to do something. No, there are like multiple ways. This is just an example to you, okay. Like if I'll take any use case, it's not that this is the only way to implement this use case, so don't take it like that, okay. This is just to make you learn that yes, how you can get the data, okay. If you have to get the data from the page list, okay. So don't take this is the best one to get, like do anything, okay. No, I'm trying to teach the page list concept, okay. So let's say you're passing an employee ID to this one, okay. So employee ID will come to this data transform. This employee ID can come from anywhere, okay. It can come from the UI, or it can come from the another data transform. Now my requirement is that when I'm passing that employee ID, I simply wants to return the salary, okay. So let's say I can define salary also. So this input and salary is output. Salary is output parameter. So basically we'll return this one. Now in that way we will achieve our the first requirement, okay. So this questions was also coming that how, like, now how we can load the data page. So to load the data page, simply we can do like this, update, and then we can update page, we can give d underscore employee list 1. So we are loading all employee, okay. If you want to pass a conditions, that also you can do, but I'm not like for now it is not required. I just like I'm pulling all the employee details. If you, let's say if you have any conditions, obviously you can add in parameters and you can return that much employee, okay. Let's say if you want to just return only one, that also you can do that, okay. Here let's say instead of doing setting salary like this, you can just fetch one also. You can pass employee to this also, then you're 100% sure that you'll get only one result, okay. And then you can hard code also index one. So there, like as I'm saying, there are like many ways to do any requirement, but I'm just trying to teach that how we can use this kind of a things, okay. So now we loaded this one, so let's run this one and see what is happening. We'll get the employee list. So we'll not pass any item here for now and just run it. So on the data page we can see that we got all the employee list. You can see that here we got px result. If I'll go in the end, we'll see that we got 5 result. Now our requirement is that we want to set the salary details, okay, of any particular employee. Okay, so we'll put a when conditions here. Okay, when conditions here. And what will be the when conditions is, so basically this is a page list, again I'm saying, right? So if you see in the tracer, and if you're not sure, if you're not like understand, right, when you are real time projects, that how we can put the conditions, you can see in the tracer also that what is happening, that employee, so this is like our page d underscore employee list 1, and then we have the px result. Okay, so let's say if you don't know any functions, then there's a very basics way you can do like this. Okay, so the very basics way you can do like this. One second, let me, why I'm not able to delete this one, sorry. So the very basics way, if you don't know that you have a functions, right, so the basics way is add a sibling below, you can do like this loop for each page in. Okay, so just if you don't know, so here you can see that the moment I added for each page is in, for each page in, it is expecting me to enter a page list. Okay, so if I enter this one, it won't work. Okay, so see, it's giving me an error, so we need to add this one dot px result. Okay, and you may need to define this in pages and classes as well, the complete things. Okay, so the class for this one is, if you see on the tracer also, the class is the same data employee. Okay, so now we have done it. Okay, so the very basics way is, now what we can do, we can compare here when. Okay, so here I can say that,
Hello, excuse me.
yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for PX result we can use code pega list things also, right? In step page.
Code pega list, if you want to define, okay, you need to define that class. Okay, I mean it's not necessary, but if you want to really define, you can define this one. Okay, sometimes this px result you don't need to define. Px result class should be that exactly that same class. Okay, what you're fetching the result. Okay, sometimes we need to define this page. Okay, if you're using like obj browse or anything, you can define this class as a code pega list, this one, this is like that. Okay, but it is giving error. But if you do, like if you're doing obj browse and that one, this px result should be the exactly same class for which you're fetching the result. Getting it? Like let's say test page, right?
Means
So
it is just a it is browsing the data.
yeah, while browsing the data, like let's say in activity you are doing obj browse. Okay, in that kind of a scenario, you can use that code pega list and then px result. But px result is what, it's you are fetching the result of that class, right? So px result will be that exactly that same class for which you are fetching the result.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's say I have a test activity. Quickly I'll show you. So if I say here, right, so here we can define test page, and then we can give our work class. Okay, and then sorry, in this one we can test page dot px result, and here we can say this one, and this one we can define code pega list. Now we can refer this page here. We can add a steps obj browse, and then add a step page, and then we can give the class here from which class we want to fetch the data. Page name we can give here test page. Okay, now here we can run and trace. If I'll trace, what it is tracing so much, which rule I ran, test page, why the test page is not there. Let me run it again, so we can add test page one more time here. Sometimes it doesn't come, so I'll just add test page here, so we can see that result on the test page. we can see the test page, see here. So we can see the px results, see here. So code pega list not necessary that you need to always define, okay, but yeah, you can define direct class as well. I hope you got it right. So let's move to our agenda. Okay, we were here, right? Set salary. So here we define that in present classes. Now what we can do, okay, we know that employee ID is there, so employee ID is one of the attributes, so I can just copy that, this one attribute name, and we can do like this. Okay, dot employee ID, let's say I want to set for the third one, so dot employee ID, okay, double equals to 3, okay, and then here we can say that param, let's say we want to get in a param dot sal equals to, here we can say salary. Okay, so can anyone tell that why I'm getting error? Because like, can anyone tell why I'm getting this error? Okay, no issues. So what is happening? So here you can see that we have always left and right side, right? So in a right side I have defined the salary, okay, but I have the context I have given on the left side. So basically this d underscore employee list is working on this side completely, but not on this side. If I want that the same context should work this side as well, we need to check this checkbox. So now it will not throw error. So basically for this step, okay, inside 2, okay, it's taking this index, this also as a this class, okay. So now if I'll run, then I should able to get the salary. So instead of passing the parameter, I just like did it like this, okay, or I can do like this as well, parent dot salary, okay. And let's say that instead of this one I can pass also, so I can fetch for whatever, it will be dynamic, parent dot employee ID. Now let's run it. So I can give, let's say 4, and this is output parameter, so trace, run it. So let's see if you got that value on that. So you can see that, okay, we got the salary 500 for in item ID employee ID 4. Let's see that if our value is correct or not. So here you can see that in records, yes, we got an employee ID 500. If I'll run, if I'll pass any other value, let's say if I'll pass 5 and delete this one, clear. Okay, so we can see that value 5 6, okay, so 600 for fifth one. So no issue, okay, we what we did, we looped and we got the data. This is what I wanted to show on step 6, okay, sorry, loop on step 3. So when you're looping, so this is just I showed that yes, we are like putting conditions and we are getting. So we can do many things in that loop, but this is how we need to run that loop, okay. So here I'm looping and getting the data, but if you want to do something else also, you can do that. Let's say you want to loop and you want to set something also, set a new attribute value, okay, that also you can do that. But here, as let's say if I'm creating a new attribute and want to set that, but for that I need to change this one from read only to editable. But if you have any test page here in place of a data page, you can set that also, okay. But here I looped that and I got the value of a particular employee ID. But this is not the efficient way, okay. You have a, let's say, big loop and you will do like looping like this in Pega, okay, then it will not be that efficient, okay. So for better performance, okay, Pega have given a page list, and inside, sorry, Pega is given a functions, okay, and we can use that functions to get this value directly, okay. So that we can do that. But what will happen is that there also we will, Pega will loop, but that loop will be there inside that Java, okay. So here we are looping like directly in Pega rule, okay, there will loop inside that Java, okay. So let's see how we can do it, okay, if I don't want to loop this one, okay. So we'll comment out this one and we'll try to do same thing. So first what we'll be doing to get the value, okay, so here you can see that, okay, we are running. So if you see in this one, Pega is returning the index as well, that in which index we find it out. So in loop we find out the index in py for each count, okay. So this is the 5th item, okay. So our employee ID fifth is there on fifth items, which is correct. Okay. Now first, if I want to use the function, so first we need to find the index, okay, that where this employee ID is sitting. Okay. So how we can do that? So let's say param dot, we can say that index. Okay. So we'll just define. Okay. And then we can say that is in page list. Okay. So we have, there is a function is in index in page list. I think. Let me see. Index in page list. So what it will do? It will return. Yeah, someone is saying something.
Yeah, means is in page list will return to or false. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah. So here is no. So here we are. So okay. So we are using index in page list to get the value. Okay. But index, so is in page list when we use, okay, I mean like that scenario also we can use, but here we want to get the value. Okay. If we just want to see that employee is there or not, so in that case we can use is in page list. So let's see first that one. Okay. So let's say that I just want to check that this employee ID is there or not. Okay. So how we can do that? Okay. So instead of this one, I can use this one. So is in page list. Is in page list. So this will just return the true false. So we won't be able to set the salary the way we were setting. If you want to set the salary, we need the index. But is in page list is also very useful functions, and this will just return. I mean basically it's checking. Let's say you want to check that if your colleague is on the vacations or not in this week, and this employee list data page is returning that one, so that you can check. Now let's take a look very carefully that what all parameter it takes. So here you can see that the moment you hover on this one, it will say that what all parameter we need to pass. So first is a string look for, and then a string look at, and then the last one is clipboard property look at. So the first one is that what property, what value we want to search. Okay, so what we want to search is param dot employee ID. This is what we want to search, right? Let me know if you are getting it.
Yes, sir.
So this is the value we want to search. The second parameter it is asking is that on which property we want to search. So we want to search on this property. So you can do like this employee ID. So this is the property. So this is the page list property. This is your attribute. It can be anything. Okay, here I'm using parameter. You can use any property, dot property also. And then finally it is asking us to give the page list name. And you can see that the last one is clipboard property to look in. So last one is not required in. We don't have to give in that. What should I say? In double quote. Okay. So that one will be like. Let me copy it from there. So I can do like this. And you need to give the complete. Okay. Not d underscore employee list. You need to give d underscore employee list dot px result. Okay, now let's click on test. So it is saying false. Okay, because we are not passing. So if I'll pass 1, let's see what it is returning. It is returning true because yes, employee ID 1 is there in this page list. If I'll pass 7, it will, or 8, it will return me false. Okay, so you're getting the usage, right? So here only we can see the result. Okay, that how it is working. And this is, as I'm saying, this is a very important functions which we use. So this is just returning true or false. Okay, so whenever we want to check that in this page list, okay, this attribute is there or not. Okay, so this is how we can test it. Okay, so it's the same thing. Now here instead of index I can just say that param dot exists, something like that, whatever parameter you want to use. So this is the one function. So any questions on this one, this functions from anyone? Any questions on understanding?
Second one, what you gave, like first one is that parameter, like which
and the second one is the property. So I'm comparing this. Okay, so this employee ID I'm comparing, which I'm passing with this one. Can you please go on mute? Yeah. So this employee id what I'm passing, right, I'm comparing with this one. So basically what is happening, it's taking the whole these things, okay. So it's comparing, like it's checking on this one, d underscore employee list dot px result dot employee id equals to param dot employee id. So this is how it is comparing. And then so it will be first index, then second index, something like that. If you check this loop, okay, on this loop what we were doing, we are looping and then checking. So this employee id is from this one, right, this property. So if you see in this employee, okay, we have this page property called employee id, right. So that is what we are comparing, and this is the value which we have given. The first one is that our value, okay. So we have like said that param dot employee id, we can hard code also with the double quote, or you can refer dot employee id property also. But if I just say dot employee id, the context is different. You need to understand this very carefully. So this context is this one. So means it is referring to that, this page or this class, okay. And this is the your current activity, means you have not given any step page. So that means this, see, it is giving me an error. It is expecting this employee id property in this work class. Why work class? Because we have written the rule in work class, okay. So but for now, let's say I'm just saying param. Let's say let's think that you have a text field on the section, okay, where you have employee id, okay, you are taking from the users, and that property is in work class, then it will work here. Got it?
Yes.
Understood it, right? Hello?
Yes, I understood.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
mainly I got doubt like why you kept in under like double quotes. That's what my doubt actually.
Yeah, double quote is okay. Double quote sometimes, I mean, without double quote, because the function itself is expecting in a string, right? So if I'll go to browse, okay, and search is in page list, is in page list. So you can see the functions definitions, right? Is in page list. See over here. So the look for is also string, and look at is also string, and the last one is clipboard property. That's one here. That's where here I pass that d underscore employee list dot px result. And it's not that you need to always pass that employee dot px result. Let's say that on that the current context of the page, okay, you just have the value on this px result. You can do like this one also, or you can do like this one dot employee list, okay, if you have, okay, like this also. So you just need to understand that which page list, from on which page list you are looking, okay. So don't get confused, okay. So here anything you can compare. In employee list we don't have anything, so we have on the this one, that is where we have given, okay. But basically it is asking for a page list, and then this is like that, this is a page and this is the page list, okay. So we have given, so a px result page list on that page. Getting it?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Next thing is that, okay, let's say that is in page list we compare. But what if you want to compare, like here we are comparing employee id equals to employee id, okay. But let's say if you want to compare 2 3 things, okay, that okay, employee id equals to this one and salary is this, okay, then I want to check that, okay, this item is there or not, okay. So basically multiple conditions, okay. So for multiple conditions, if I'll again loop here, okay, so what you can do, you can add a conditions like this, okay, if you're looping. So you can see that here we were looping, but here we just got in one step only. So it's not that Pega is not looping, but it's getting loop is happening on this is in page list function. So Pega have this is in page list functions, okay. So in that one Pega is looping, but when we do this kind of a loop in Java, okay, it's little faster, okay, than if you're doing in this data transform, and our code is also neat and clean. That is where Pega have given the functions. So we should always try to use these functions in if you instead of this one. Now if I want to compare one more things, okay, that and let's say and dot salary dot salary equals to 500, okay. So this is also same thing, okay, but if I'll run it will work, not an issue, okay. But if I want to do that in this way using functions, how we can do that? Anyone wants to tell? Like you understood it that here we added multiple conditions. One is this one, param dot employee id equals to employee id, and this one is salary equals to 500. Okay, so it's like multiple conditions. But what if I want to do it like this? But here you can see that it's just taking one parameter. Okay, one attribute. So how we can achieve this one? Anyone?
Is in page list when condition?
Yes, so we can create a when rule here. Okay, now question is that when rule I will create in which class? In which class we should create a when rule?
Where the property is
Which property?
like a salary property.
Yes, so the better answer would be, okay, you can say that I'll be creating in the page list class. Okay, and page list class is which one? Okay, employee, right? So we will be creating in employee class. So let's create a when rule. So we'll go to decision when, and let's say check EMP. This is what we are creating, and this will be creating in employee data class. Data. Let me see that what is the exact class. I think this is the class. So here what I can say, okay, I can add that dot employee id equals to param dot employee id, or I can just for now I can hard code it. Okay, or let's say employee id and then dot salary equals to 500. So it will be only true for the fourth item, because for the fourth one we have that employee id, employee fourth is salary 500. Okay, so it will return for that one, and here we can say 1 and 2, or whatever you want to define A or B. Okay, so if I for now I'll just like instead of parameter I'll just pass that 2, so it should return me false. So let's do that. So this is also very easy. So let's check that the functions for that one. So we're just trying to learn all the concept. Okay, so don't see that okay I've written set salary but I'm doing something else. No, we're just trying to learn. Okay, so here I'll say param dot exist. Okay, same way, or here only we can test it, we don't have to go there as well. So just go in browse. Okay, and then is in page list, search with is in. So here you can see that is in page list when. Okay, so this is another functions. Okay, it's extensions of this one. So if you see what it is expecting, so last functions was expecting from you 3 parameter, but it is expecting only 2. One is the string when rule name, and the second one is that again clipboard property. So our when rule name is check emp. So we can just give check emp, and then second one is second things is g underscore employee list dot px result. Again that's the page list. So this one is not required in code, this one is required in code. I think sometimes without code also it will work. It's a string, so and dot px result. Okay, and so if you not give this quote also, it will work, and I'll tell you why that in the previous one. Okay, why quote is required, I'll explain that one. Okay, so here it's not saying anything, we need to run that one because it's not able to evaluate this when rule. Okay, so the question is that here like without, okay, it's expecting, I think looks like check in, let me give that. I think this is Java.
Bracket actually.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think this one should work without this also. I just wanted to show. Yeah. So you can ask a question is that why you given this one here. Okay, so if I'll not give, then what will happen, I need to give dot. Okay, so sometimes without dot it doesn't work, and if I'll give like this one, then what will happen, it will, the dot will consider as that I'm giving a dot property, and it will look in the current class. Okay, in this class. Okay, so if I'll try to save, I'll be getting an error. See, it is looking that property in this class, and that is where we are kind of a making Pega full. I mean, we are like kind of a we are doing like this. So this way it will, what will happen, Pega will treat this as a complete string, otherwise it was treating as a property. Okay, and for that only we have given this one, okay, in a quote. I hope you guys got it. Otherwise if it is a string, so you don't have to always add quote, not required. Now let's run this one and see that on last step what we're getting. So I'll just comment this one, and this one also I'll just quickly comment. So based on our when rule we should get false, right? Let's see what we're getting. Close, let's run.
Yes, sir.
And we can see that value here, so we got false. Okay, now let's make change and make it 4. Clear the tracer. So this time we should get true. Yeah, we got it. So you understood it, right? So we use two functions for same thing. So now from now onwards I'm expecting that we'll be keep using these functions, okay, and you'll not be looping. And if you have to just find out and check with one attribute, you'll use in page list. If you have to find out with multiple attribute, if you want to check that something is there in a page list or not, so in that kind of a scenario you'll be using in page list when. Okay, so I hope you got it, these two. Any questions on these two functions before we move further? So let's come back to here. Okay, so next we'll be going and seeing that index. So here we learned, right, checking that exist items or not, and we saw in both way. We saw in like using one attribute, and we saw using when rule also when we have multiple attribute. Now let's check that the next one. Okay, let's disable this one also. Same thing. So what we were doing here, looping and then getting the salary. Okay, so what, let's see if you want to do this one only, how we can do that. So to do this one, first we need to find out that index. Okay, and that is where for both this scenario Pega have a functions, parallel functions. So if I'll see here, search here, you can see that is in page list, index in page list, and index in page list when rule is there. I'll show you here. So same thing, just that if I use the same functions here with the like the functions name is different, it will return that the index, that in which index we have this item. So let's see that index in. So if you see here index in, so here we have a two set. So similar way, the way we have index in page is in page list, let's see here again is in page list. So see, is in page list is there and is in page list when is there. Same way index in page list is also there. Index in, see, it's there. So same thing, it will, this is also asking for the same parameter, and this is also asking that the same, the way we enter, right? So it's the same thing, just it will return. So this will return with multiple combinations and this will return with one combination. Okay, so if I'll just copy the same thing, okay, and just change the name, and here I'll say param.index. Okay, param.index, and here is in page list in place of index in page list, we can say index in page list. Okay, so now let's see that we are getting index or not. Okay, so here we are using param.index, so we have to pass. Here also we can test it. Let's say here, as I said right in the beginning, okay, that if like param.employee is blank, okay, so there is no blank in our page list, so that is where it is returning false. And in sometimes in project you might have seen that if you need to handle this -1, okay, that in the very next step you need to add a conditions that let's say you want to get a salary, so you need to say that the parent index is not equals to -1. Okay, otherwise what will happen, sometimes you'll get an error also. So you need to handle that. So now you can see that if I'll pass this one some value 5, let's say 5, employee equals to 5, then I'm getting index 5. Okay, because exactly your index and this employee ID is same. If I'll add, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, test, and if I'll give 700, so if I'll pass this value, okay, and let's for now just clean up this one so that the data will get loaded, and run this once. I mean, in real time, you don't have to do all those things. You should have your load strategy. Okay, whatever way you want. Okay, so now let's close again and see here. So this time, if I'll give this one, see it is returning 2. How come it will be 2? Index, no, something is wrong. It should not result return 2, or it could be because let's see that in which index it is there, or could be it is correct only. Let me see, run and see that. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, so on index 2 we have. Okay, so it's not exactly that it Pega will do like fetch in that manner only. We have not given any sortings. Okay, so Pega is doing some, Pega is taking by default some sorting. Okay, and then that one it is giving 1 2 3 4 5 6 on index 2. So you can see that we are getting index, right? Now after getting the index, if you want to get the salary, how you can get it? So param.index, and in the very next step you can do like this: d underscore employee list dot px result, and in index this time we can pass a hardcode value. A hardcode means the param.index and dot salary, that you can get it in param.salary. So this is how we find the index, and this is how we use the index. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so see, this is how I have added page list dot, and then here I am giving the index. Now let's run and see that if you are getting the salary for that employee ID. So employee ID 1 2 3 4 5. What was that? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's run, trace, run. See param.salary, and we should see that 700. See, we got that 700. So you're getting it. So if here we are first finding that index, and then using that index we are hard coding at the index. Basically we are not hard coding, we are passing dynamically. So this is how we do that. Okay, so these kind of use cases we get a lot. Okay, first find the index, and based, and after finding that index you can do that. But if you don't know how to find this index, what you will be doing, you will be looping, and then it will be get caught in code review, and you need to change that code. Now whatever we did here, exactly the is in page list. Okay, in place of is in page list, index in page list when is also there, so you can try. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, so no point of seeing, but I hope you got it right, that how to find the index also. Okay, and how to use that index. So finding is one thing, and then using is also second things that you need to understand, that how you can use it also. Any questions on this one from anyone? Okay, so now the next thing is the delete. Okay, so this also use case comes. Okay, and I have seen that lot of comments on WhatsApp group or in YouTube channel, that how we can delete it. Okay, and what people tries is that simply what they will do, I have seen that. Okay, so let me copy this step. The one which I have seen, what people does is paste below. They loop here. Okay, and they'll put conditions also like this: enable, where is that, enable this step, enable. Okay, and then simply they'll try to put conditions and say that remove, something like that. Okay, something like that, they'll say remove or something, that this remove will not work. Okay, or even if you know that index, let's say if you know the index, right? So something like this: add sibling below, sorry, not paste, add sibling below. So I've seen like this, people are doing px result at 1. Let's say they want to remove item 1, so they'll do like this. This will not help. Okay, this will not help, and the reason is it will not help is that you are sitting on same thing and you are trying to delete. It will not help. Okay, let's see that if it is removing. Let's trace it. See, we got an error, and why we are getting error, because we are trying to remove. Okay, and it's a read only. Okay, so as I am saying, in read only we cannot perform anything actions, but you might not get a requirement to delete from the data page list. Okay, I mean that page list which is coming from the used through the database. Maybe you have your own page list, okay, either on some temp page list, or you have directly inside the py work page, okay, like employee list, that kind of a things. Okay, so if I'll make this one editable, then we will be able to do that. So but it will become like a user pages. Now let's run. So we'll not see that error this time. So see, it worked. But did it removed it? Let's see that. Okay, no, because I can see that total count is still there 6. Let's see on the clipboard. Okay, so you can see that so we ran that and we removed it, right? So ideally on the clipboard we should see the list, right? So where we can see this page on clipboard, so we need to go to standard. So we'll go in a standard, and this time not in data pages, we'll get in user pages only. So somewhere we should see that d underscore employee list. Yeah, see here we have, and let's see that how many page results we have. We have 6. So it didn't delete it, or it deleted. Looks like it deleted. Okay, one second. Yeah, basically it removes all the item. Okay, but this is not the way we should delete it. Okay, you can see that still that index is there, right? Index is there, so index didn't got removed, we just deleted some item. Okay, and here we have hard coded that remove one result. Okay, and but here I have like we have asked to remove one, but why it is doing like this, right? So this something is wrong. You can see that 1 2 3 4 5, so it didn't on one, still we have, and then this 6th item, so something is not right. Okay, so you can see that it is not working as expected. So now what is the best way to delete, right? So anyone wants to tell what is the best way to delete this one? Okay, so what we can do here, we can loop on this one. Okay, and based on the conditions, that let's say that I want to delete employee id 1 2 3. Okay, 3 list. Okay, so you can loop on this px result, and then you can put a when condition that employee id equals to o1 or 2. So you want to delete 1 or 2, so any one of the, like whatever it will match, it can delete. Okay, now what we'll do, the first things which we'll be doing is that we need to set one property. Okay, and that property name is py deleted object. Basically we need to set a flag, okay, that this is I'm marking for delete. Py deleted object, something like that. That property name is, yeah, you can see that. So what basically here we are doing, let's run this time. Okay, and it's not necessary because we have given conditions as a hard coded employee id 1 or 2. Let me trace and show you. Run. So you can see on this one, this employee page list, so on item 1 and 2 we will see that property py deleted object equals to true. Py deleted object and p equal to 1, no, employee id 2, right? So employee id true, we should see that. See, for employee id 2 we have the py deleted object equals to true, getting it? So what we said, that if you have employee id equals to 2 or 1, then we want to set py deleted object equals to true. I don't know from where that 6 is coming, I'll delete that one. So employee id 1 is where? Employee id 3, employee id 4, employee id. Okay, so there is something last time we did, right? Employee id, so because of that we're getting error. Okay, so let me do this one, let me run it, then we will get that correct one. I mean that removed work, but it didn't work in a cleaner way. And usually like we hard coded that value, right? So we cannot hard code in real time projects to remove that. Okay, so that is where, let's see, if you want to remove based on conditions, so this is how we can use it. Now let me run again this functions, trace, run. So let's see that. Okay, so here you can see that it is looping on all those things and it is comparing employee id equals to 1 or 3. I don't know, still people are joining. Okay, So let's just see that employee id.px result. So for one, we can see that py deleted object equals to true, and for employee id 2 also py deleted object is true. So basically what we are doing, just if you think that you have a pen and paper and you have a listed down 5 items, you are just marking checkbox, you are doing checkbox that okay, or you are striking it off, okay, that I want to delete these items. So you are doing this one. So now once you marked it, Pega is giving a functions to delete these things. I hope you are getting it right, and let me show you that how. So this is just the marking, this is not the deletions. Okay, for delete we need to use a function. So I'll add that functions below now. Okay, save link below. So I'll just say that param.delete. This param you can define anything, and to delete this one, okay, we have a functions remove deleted object. See this one. So what we did, first we marked it, and then this is expecting just the page list. Okay, so we can give the page list the underscore employee list. So this page list we can give. So first what we did, we have a list, and then first we marked it that we want to delete these items, and then finally we are passing that list, that this is the list from which we want to delete. So what these functions will do, and these functions will loop and then check that if this py deleted object is true, okay, for that items, then it will delete those instances, okay, or those items from that list. Getting it? Any question? Let's just see
Clear,
that.
sir. Clear.
Let's just see that. Okay, trace and run. So you can see that param.delete. So finally, if I'll see this one, let's check on the clipboard. Okay, because here if I would have refer after this one, we could have seen that here. Okay, but as we have not referred, right? So let's just see on the clipboard that how many items we have, d underscore unemployee list. So I need to go to a standard because we are working from the dev portal, and we should see somewhere d underscore employee list px result. See how many items we have. We have 5. So we should see for employee id 1 we don't have. See, something is happening somewhere, it is getting, this is getting one blank item is getting added. I need to see, but if you see here that 4 is 5 is there, employee id 5 is there, employee id 4 is there, employee id 3 is there, employee id 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 is there, but 1 or 2 is not there. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
So that employee id 1 and employee id 2 got removed.
So can we add any other property like py deleted?
No, this is no. You need to use this property only, and you need to remember that. And the reason is because this flag, right? So Pega uses that flag in this function. So you need to use this function, that property only. See here, Pega is checking that. So Pega is checking if that py deleted object is to true, then Pega is looping and then removing the item. You can see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you need to use that only. Okay. If you use something else, then it will not work in effective way. Got it?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, after deleting this, this deleted items can be appended to some other page list or new page list.
Yeah, you can do that, but so see, when you are looping, so when condition is getting true, first you append it and then mark it true, right? So let's say you are right, you want to copy that, okay, and then delete it. You can do that. Let's say here you want to write, so based on these conditions, while marking this true, you can copy also. You can create a test page. You can do whatever you want. Basically, you are looping, and then if you want to say test page dot px result and you can say append, and then you can copy that like this, the whole item px result, and this time you need to give index is that param for each count, param dot py for each count. Okay, so what it will do, okay, it will copy that index and append it to this one. So you need to define this test page dot px result here for that same class. So whatever you marked for deletions, you are just copying to a different page list before deleting. That also you can do that. Now let's append like add a step is here, and just will refer this test page so that we'll see the value on the clipboard. Okay, so this is again why it is showing. Okay, some problem in index. Let me see here. Okay, so index will be like this. Sorry. Okay, so now what will happen? So this test page should have employee ID 1 and 2. Let's run and see that. Let's check the test page. See, test page result item equals to 1 and then 2. We copied it, px result to 2. One second, what it is copying? It's copying something else. Px system id, py edits. No, it's not copying that, the what we wanted to copy. I don't know what it is copying. Let me see 1 second. Maybe test page is already there on clipboard or something. Instead of test page, I'll say temp page, and I'll just update this temp page here. So maybe let me see if it is working or not, but there are like many ways. So here I'm just trying to set the whole things, okay, in once only. Okay, and there could be possibility that because of that it is not working, but yes, we can set that, not a problem. Let me close this whole things and run it again. No, it's not working, I think, in this way. So then we can set one property as well. I was thinking that if I'll set it like this, it should work, okay, but looks like it is not working. Okay, so then you can do like this also, employee id, okay, and then here you can give employee id. So basically you are copying from that one, like this. So then it will copy. Let me show you now. At this time it will copy. If I go to temp page, okay, I think on this temp page px result is why it's not there. Let's check on the clipboard. Maybe on clipboard we'll see that something is happening. Maybe it was copying, but it was not there on clipboard. Let's see the temp page. I'll see the temp page. No, why temp page is not there? Py deleted temp page. We are setting correct only. This is temp page.px result 1, and then maybe value is coming blank or what, 1 2 3. Okay, let's run this time. Trace. Sometimes some caching issues. No, something is
So
happening.
the copy option should be written after this py.
No, here I'm simply
deleted
creating tempage.px result and
Right, sir.
append.employee id, right? So it should simply work. There should not be any problem. And I have hard coded the value as well now. So not doing any fancy coding, right? So it's just simple coding. So it should append tempage.px result, and we should get that 2 items. Employee id equals to 1 and 2. Okay. It is exist. Okay, so let's see if the condition is getting true. Oh, something is happening. See, it's all false. Okay, I understood it. Sorry, my bad. Okay, we are struggling from so long. Okay, so the reason is that we have already removed that one, those 2 items, right? So I need to disable this one. Okay, or even if I'm not disabling, let me disable this one. You understood it, right? That we have
You
already.
can clear the data page and again run.
Yeah. That is what I'm saying. Now we should see that. See, we got 1 2, right? You can see that. So now if I try in other way also it will work. Okay, if I want to refer, okay, that each time, okay, let's say I want to add that dynamically this one, okay, so this will also work. So I don't have to give the hardcode value. You can see that on temp page we can see what is happening again. See, you're getting it, right? You can see that, like, because it's got appended because we are not cleaning that page, right? So those issues happening, but instead of we have 2 items, we got 4, but that is fine because we didn't clean up. Now if you want to copy that whole page, so I think it should work like this. Let me see that. Result and then param dot py for each count, and I'll remove this one. Let's see if it is working or not. So basically I'm trying to copy that whole itself. Okay, so these questions also I got, few people were asking, and this is also important. You should know that if you want to copy that whole things, let's see if it is working or not. Okay, no, it is not working, or array out of bound, why it is saying when I'm trying to copy. Like, okay, so maybe again we are not going. Okay, so employee id, because let me run the data page again. So because we deleted, no, we didn't delete it, but let me see, let me clear the data page and then run again, trace. Did I gave that correctly, that param, and this is correct only, dot px result. Maybe this px result is not required, I don't know. Param dot, but how will copy the value? I'll check that. Okay, I'm like not remembering this one. Okay, like how we can do that, but I think we can copy that whole things, but obviously you can copy one by one. Okay, and that options is anyway, it's there. Okay, I think it should work like this. Let me see. This should work definitely. Param dot.
Is there any functions for this?
No, you need to do like this only. Py for each count.
Okay.
Each count. This should work. Let me see. So you'll copy that whole things together, and here I'm giving the index. Let me run again. So see, it worked. So you can see that, see, entire item got copied. So we added like 7 or 8 each time we were running, right? So it was keep on appending. So you got it. So these questions was also coming, that how we want to copy that entire things. Okay, so here you can see that I'm copying to a page list to page list, but what if you want to just copy to one page? Okay, so this question was also there, and agenda was there on our things, that how we can copy page list item, okay, to a page. So let's that just things that this is a page list, but if I want to copy, okay, on a page as well, so how we can do that? So temp page, we can define temp page here of the same class. So temp page we have already defined, and I can just do like this, and then you can set like this. So what will happen, it will copy, obviously it will copy and override that. So we will have the value for either employee id 1 or 2 on the temp page. So on the temp page we will not have that entire value. Okay, so just I will remove this temp page before running, so it will clean up, and then we can see that. So how I'm copying. So just let me know if you're not getting it. Okay, if the things is getting clumsy, I'll delete few things and then we can see again. Okay, so see on temp page, see, we can see that. So temp page is what is happening. Okay, we have this value, so we copied as a page, getting it. So we copied item employee id 2 as a page here, getting it. And why this things is not there? Because we entirely like overridden that page. So if I'll just comment this step, disable step 1.1 and run it again, we should see a very neat and clean page on trace it. See, one second. px is coming from where. You getting it? Understood it? This one, that how we can copy an item complete page list, because we get this kind of a requirement also in our real time scenario that okay, I'm looping and copying
Can you
the
show it on clipboard as well?
yeah, sure. So on clipboard we will see that temp page. Temp page, here we'll see that. See, so px result is there, but it's not there, like basically somewhere it is getting one page added, okay, but here this is basically we are copying this page result, right? You can see that. So we are copying one.
Actually, removed only page. You didn't remove page list, so that's why px
Yeah,
results is there.
yeah, that is fine. Yeah, that is fine. But the main things is when we got the concept, right?
Yes.
We got the concept that how we can copy. So we learned that how to copy that entire page list, okay, entire page list things, okay, to another page list. So that also we see and appending. So we didn't append it one by one, we appended the complete list. So we given the complete reference, and that index is dynamically, it is looping. So we gave that parent.py for each count, so it worked, okay. And then second, we are just copying like one item, okay, to directly a page, not in a page list. So we gave the page name, and then it also worked fine. I don't know from where this is still coming, but that's fine, okay. Understood that concept, right? Any questions on this one, that how we copy a list to a page? So you can see that we are doing many things, right? But if you see, if I'll just recap, okay, we tried both the things from here, okay, that we find out that items, that any value is there, any like employee ID or anything is there in that list or not. So we find out in a two way. So if it is a one property, then we can use it is in page list. If you have multiple property, then we can use it is in page list way. Same, the next one is that if you have to find out that index for that what we are looking, so then again we have two functions, is in page list, index in page list, and then index in page list when, okay. Then we are looping, and then you can see that multiple times we have looped it, and we are setting some attributes that okay, based on these conditions if you want to set, okay. And you can do it with any type of page list. Here we were using the data page dot px result, so that's where we need to make it editable. Delete also we learned that yes, if you want to delete, first you need to loop on that one, and you mark that these are the items I want to delete, okay. So you are deleting that one also. And then the final one is that copying the data, okay. So we saw that how we can copy the data from the page list, okay, to another page list. So that also we saw. And then we saw that how we want to copy the data from one page item, okay, from the page list one item to a page, right? So now the display data is there, but before we'll go to that one, I'll show one more thing. So any questions till this point from anyone?
No, Lalit.
Okay. So the last items which we cover is, okay, display will go, okay. Let's say if I want to display that, but what if that I have a two page list, okay, and I want to loop, and I want to compare those two page lists as well. So that also we get, okay, many of the times, okay. So let me create another clean fresh tt, okay, and we'll do there. So this is like a compare two page list, two list. So this also we get a lot, okay, in our project. So for that one, first I need to create, so we have one page list, okay. So one page list is there, the d underscore employee list, okay. So this is the one page list, but before that I'll create another page list, okay. So for that one, instead of doing that in here only, cluttering this data transform, I'll create another one. Create emp list, okay. So I'll create another one, and here I'll quickly set in this employee list, and then here I'll set append, and then I'll say I need to set all. Employee ID, and here I'll set, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay. And then I'll set only one attribute I'll set. Okay, so here I'll set 6 7 8 9, and then one more I'll set 3 item and setting, and employee ID let's say 2. So if I'll run this one, employee ID, why it is giving me an error, because I need to let me see what is the base d underscore employee list, what I have defined. Just a second, let me see what class I have defined. Yeah, it is correct only, so this is fine. It should not throw me an error. Okay, let me define this employee list dot employee list, and then I'll just copy this class. Or maybe I'm copying employee. Let me see if this property I'm copying wrongly. Just a second, let me see that. So basically I'm just trying to create a dummy page list, nothing else. Oh, it's throwing me error. This is employee list is there, and this class is correct only. Yeah, see, all Pega. Okay, so now if I'll run simply, what we'll see, okay, on employee list, okay, we'll see that 3 page list, 3 item on page list. So let me just run, so you can see that. Okay, so index 1 we have employee ID 1 2 3 4 5 6, on index 2 we have 7 8 6 7 8 9 0, and index 3 3. Now requirement is, okay, that your requirement, let me run again and show you. So a requirement is that, let's say in your project you need to compare this both employee. Okay, one is that you have, let's say this is there under your py workpage, py workpage.employee id, and then you have a database. You want to compare both and check that is there any matching item is there or not, simply. Okay, so that you want to check. If it is a matching item, then return true or return false. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So now we have a 2 page list. So if you have only page list, 1 page list, what we were doing as of now. So to compare 1 page list is in page list, what we were doing, okay, we were passing that param.employee id like this. Okay, you can see that param.employee id, and this one. But now we have a 2 page list. Okay, so then we have to loop this time. Okay, loop on 1 page list. So here what we need to do, we need to loop on 1 page list. Okay, and we'll select for each page in, and we'll say like this. Okay, we can use exactly the same function, just that the employee ID value will come, okay, from this one. Okay, just a second. Okay, let's see that param dot and now this employee ID will come from this page. Let me know if you are getting it, that what is happening. So now each time it will loop, it will set the value. So earlier employee ID was coming a single value, okay, in parameter, but now this time employee ID will come from this list. Okay, so it will loop each time and check that this value is there in this list or not. So the first item it will check based on this page list. First item it will check that 1 2 3 4 5 6 is there in this, the next page list or not, in this one. So it's there. If it is there, then it will return true, exist. Okay, true. For the second item, okay, it will return false because we don't have. For third one it will return true. So let's run this one. So let's check that each value. So for the first item we got true. Yes, 1 2 3 4 5 6 is there, so we got it true. Then second item is false. Okay, so obviously 6 7 8 9 is not there, so it is returning false. Okay, and then finally the last one we have true. You can see that. So right, so this is how, if you want to find it out that value is there or not, okay, we can do that. If you have a two page list, getting it? And here is just I'm saying exist, right? So it, like in a page list we are getting a multiple item, and the last item it is overriding your value last item. So you can break this loop, that if you're getting this value, you can say that here did the param dot exist equals to true, then you can exist this data transform. Okay, so that also you can do, right? Because it's looping, and then it's just setting that last value. Okay, so usually you should not do like this. What will happen is that, like, if the last, even though it's the value is there, okay, in that page list, the last one is not there, so it's just this one, it's just overriding each time. So you can just, like, if it is true, then you can exist this data transform, or you can do whatever you want. You can put some condition, okay, like one, or you can set, you can do like this. If param dot exist, then only compare that param dot exist equals to false. If it is a false, let's say, okay, and by default, you can set this false, so you are just treating as a boolean, right? So if it is a false, then only go inside that. If it is true, it won't go inside that. So now after that, finally we'll get the param dot exist equals to true only, will not get that last. So something like that you need. So these are the, like, kind of a like logic which you need to apply in your project. Okay, now we should see that, okay, if it is, see, it got false. Okay, let me see that last value param dot exist what we have. Okay, what happened for, okay, so we need to initialize that. Okay, so I just didn't define. So if I define this one as exist as a boolean, then it will work. Otherwise you need to define that. Okay, or you need to define just here on a various step, on a step, that the value by default is false. So now let me run. So if I'll say exist equals to false by default and run, see, I'm getting true. So if it is true, then it's not going inside that. So you can see on tracer also, so first one, if false one is like matched, then for the other one it's not, like, even it's looping, but it's not even doing anything. But you can avoid that one also. You don't want to loop as well, right? In activity we have that step for exit this loop, exit iterations, but in data transform we don't have. So unfortunately we have that issue. So you can create a separate data transform, this one, and you can just exit that data transform also. So that also feature is there. Got it? That how we can compare two lists, if you have that, if you have to compare. Any questions from this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the last one is very simple, that if you want to display this data employee list, right? So you can simply create a sections and you can embed it. Okay, so there are like two ways you can display the data. Let me quickly show you. So I just created employee, right? Case type, I just temporary case type I have. So here, let's say if I want to display the data, okay, so how we can do that? So if I'll go to this one, so we should ideally try it from that, case type itself. So let's go and see if we can do it from there only. So here I'll just go to configure view and add field. But here it will ask me to add the field. Okay, and so we can do with this one as well. So we have created employee list, so we can copy the data, or we can refer to data page. So I can refer that d underscore employee list. Okay, so this is one way, okay, through which we can do it. Let me show you a manual way. Okay, so from here, if you do that, Pega, what will Pega will do? Pega will create one page list type property, and then it will refer the data page. Okay, but let's say if I will have to do manually, I'll create this, I'll go to this sections, and here to add the page list, what you need to do, you need to save as this section, because that's a create section. So you need to save as in your case type class. And if you want to add that list, you may need to convert, okay, otherwise you will not get that options for that list. So now here I can remove this, okay, and in a structure you'll find, so there are like two ways you can do the table, and you can use the source. In place of source we can use data page. Okay, so if you want to source that employee list which we were like creating, okay, but if you are referring this one, you need to make sure that value is there before, Okay, like, so this employee list is populated before case creation, so that you can do, or if you can refer the data page as well. So I'll just refer this data page. Submit it. And now if I'll just go and refresh the screen, we should see that list item. Obviously we'll so see, we are getting a blank, okay, because we have not referred any property. So we can refer that employee ID here. Employee ID in header also we can give that employee ID. You can give that employee ID. Okay, so now if I go on UI, we should see that. Refresh. So see, we are getting all the employee, so you can add as many columns as you want. Okay, so this is one way. Okay, but there is another way also. Okay, that if you have a, let's say the representation is little different, you want like here you can just, this is like more like Excel sheet or table, but if you want in a different way, okay, with your own way, you can like use this one as well, repeating dynamic layout. So it will ask a section. Okay, so you can drag a sections again. Okay, so like this. So this will also ask for the source. It's a similar things, but just that you need to give a section. So here it's a saying property or data page. So I'll just give the data page employee underscore employee list. Okay, and then just submit it. So now if you drag a section, okay, and if you try to create a section, let's say that embed section. So these sections it will try to create automatically in the data class. So we can say employee details. So section is not there, so first we need to create, and you can see that it is directly creating in the data class. So now you have the flexibility whatever way you want to represent that, okay, section, okay, because that one is like more like a table and this one is a free sections, right? So you can configure the way you want. So I'll just refer that employee ID also here. Now it should not throw error. Let's just submit it. Let's refresh this E1 case. So see, this is looking different, right? So you can configure. So this is like you have more control on this one if you are doing how you want to represent, but this one you don't have a more control. But like depending on how you want to display, we use that. Okay, either way. Got it? Any questions on this one? That how we are displaying?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one question, sir. Actually, in the page list, if we give refer to data page, then can you run and show the scenario?
Yeah, so here you can run the data page as well. Okay, so you can, if you have a page list, you have parameters. Okay, then you can pass that as well. So here I'm referring that. So now instead of that one, I can just simply go and it will display the same list, but it will display through this page list. Okay, so I can just go and update this list. Okay, instead of page list, I can say property. I may need to define that dot employee list. Ideally it should not. I don't know why I'm getting error. Let me see that. Okay, because of the space. Ideally this is not required because we have in the same class, right? So definitions is not required. Let me just refresh. If I'll delete this one also, it should work. Yeah, so now if I'll just go, so you can see that one is coming directly through the database and one is coming from that employee list, which is again referring to the database as well. Okay, you can copy also, depending on the use case we do that. You can read that what is the difference between copy and refer. If I'll just go and refresh this E1, see the data is coming, right? Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. One more question. One okay. So we have covered most of the things, whatever we had like in our agenda. Okay. One more things here is that what if like the question is that what if you want to calculate the sum, right? Let's say if you want to calculate the sum of all salary, how we can do that? Okay. So let's see that one also that use case. So anyone have you any questions on displaying this data?
Sir, I have a couple of scenarios, sir. I have worked before, but I didn't get any results for this. So can you please open the chart and see, tell me those scenarios?
Come again from here.
Sir, I have two scenarios, sir. I have worked before, but I
Mhm.
didn't get those results. So I have typed those scenarios in the chat box. Can you please open the chat box?
Oh, chat box. Okay. Okay. Sir, I need to loop on page list and write a result on the third page list. Can you please explain? I need to loop on a page list and write a result on the third page list. And I have another scenario: how to delete the button. How to make delete button disable at the end of the first row in the table. What is the second question? I have another scenario: how to make delete button disable at the end of the first row in table. I don't know about the second one. Let me show you the first one. Okay, this you can handle it once you understood that. Like if you know that. Okay, if you want to just disable the last this one last result item. I don't know. Here so you I need to loop on two page list and write result into the third page list. Yeah, so I showed you, right? So it's the same thing. Here we saw that, right? Here we are comparing, we are looping on two pages. Here we tried to copy the data, right? When we were looping, we copied the data, right? So how you loop on two and then compare, like add it on third? I didn't get you. You can loop on like only one page list, right? Maybe you can compare on two page list. Here we can see that compare on two page list, and let's say after comparison this two page list you want to add to another third, then also you can do it here. You just need to, if it is true, okay, and then here you can add that. So you have already two page list, employee list, and then you have employee list d underscore employee list, that one. And if you want to add that the data from any of the like from this page list, right, you can do that in the temp page. So I explained that scenario, right? Got it?
Got it, but my scenario is like I have a one is a student page and other is a department page, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We have a common column like department ID
Mm-hmm.
in the in the both pages.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I have student ID is like 1245 and department is ID like 12,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no department ID for third student ID. So but I need to write the data for student third also in the third page list.
Yes, so you can loop and compare, then you can write. So let's say this is your student and this is your department, right? So if it is matching any of the things, you want to write to the third one, right? Say temp page, okay? You can do that temp page dot px result. Temp page dot px result. You can try, but this is how you need to do that. You can say append, and let's say this is your append. Append. So here, let's say you are
Append, it will
comparing
create
that.
new page, right?
Come again.
If you give append, it will create new page, right? So I think he's telling on the same page we need to add one property.
And that also we can do, right? So let's say after looping, if it is exist, okay, so then we can say like this: when param dot exist. So if it is, we have defined boolean, then we want to add on employee list. So let's say we want to add another one, right? So we can add it here. So here we are looping, right? So to add it, okay, if it is true, then we want to add a new one, right? So in this, I think you cannot add it this one like this, okay. If it is true, then you want to add it on this one only, or you want to add it on different page list.
We can have another keywords, right? Like last, otherwise current. So we can do like that.
Yeah,
On
so
which
obviously,
page
I mean,
the
it's
exact
not that we
list.
cannot add it. We need to do like this dot employee list, okay. So the context is taking this one only, so you need to say primary dot, okay, and then you can append, let's say dot employee id, and let's say I'm just hard coding the value, something like this. So it will work, just that you cannot use because you are already in that reference, so you cannot use that reference. So if I'll now run this one, in the end we should see that this employee list and it will be there. Okay, so let's run that, trace, run. We should see on the primary page. So this is the primary page. See, it got added. See here, you can see that.
Got it, sir.
Yeah, just that you need to add that. See, if you just give the correct page references and all, it will work, not a problem.
Yes. My second scenario is like it's a table layout. I'm copying the data from data page to one table layout. So I have used data transform here, and I have 4 columns here, like first name, last name, salary, and fourth is it's a link. I mean, it's a button like delete. So once it reach it to more than 11, I mean more than 10. If it is 11th record, I'm adding into it. So the first record has to if any customer need to delete the first record, he won't. I mean, he don't get any action to delete that.
Yes, so you
So
need
I
to
want
put,
to disable that.
yeah, so you can put a disable when conditions, okay, and I don't know, in that when rule maybe you can write this, these are the concept you need to use, maybe you need to use is in page list, okay. So if that is matching employee id or the student id, whatever, so you can, in that way you can create a when rule and use it on that disable button, okay. So that way you try, and if it will not work, then let me know. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure,
Yeah,
sir,
you
I
need
will
to
do
use
that.
the same concept, it's the same concept, okay. Like, or maybe there you don't have to use in is in page list because you are already in page list, so you just need to create a when rule, okay, and you can compare the value. I think it will work, okay.
Oh, okay, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'm trying the last thing, let's see if it will work, and then we'll close the classes. Okay, so there is some problem here. I have faced this issue in past as well. Okay, so we'll see this value in clipboard. Okay, it will work. There is some trick. Okay, so it's not working even though everything is correct. So basically, my point is that I want to set all the employee ID salary to the total salary. Okay, so we just now in front of you, I created this property total salary, right? So that total salary we just created here property. If you see, we created total salary. Now I'll create a declare expressions on that one. Okay, so let's see that. I'll go to decision declare expression. Okay, target property is dot total salary.
Here I got one doubt. We cannot create declare expressions on embedded properties.
Embedded properties. Like, no, you need to create on a single value property only, right? It's a text or something, right?
No. For example, this data class. For example, it is data class. I want employee ID. For example, I'm creating work class in declare expression. So if I want to access, I will need to access through pages, right?
Let's see that. Let
Like
me
employee
let me
page.
complete this one, and then you can ask the question.
Okay.
So basically, total salary. Oh, it's complaining. Okay, I'm trying to create this one. So basically, what I'm trying to here is that even I have the employee list, and I just want to set that the value of all the employee ID to in a property of this total salary. Okay, so I need to select sum of, and then I need to give dot employee list. So employee list here dot salary. Okay, so this is where in the group, if you remember, someone was saying if I'll just use that at the rate sum, okay, that like that will not work, so we need to use in this way. Okay, so here you can see that sum of we need to select, and then employee list dot salary. Okay, so let me load this section and see that if you're getting that value, okay, on the clipboard. Let me see if we are getting that total salary. Maybe I need to refer somewhere like to display that value, then it will, because that property, what is happening is that property is not being referred, so I'll not use here. Let me remove this one. I'll refer somewhere else. Okay, so maybe I'll refer at the bottom of the section here. Okay, in the same sections, I think what I'll do, I'll refer here. I'll drag a dynamic layout in the bottom, and in this one I'll just say that data capture text input. Let's see if it is coming. See, it's coming, right? You can see that 2400 it's coming. So if I'll go and calculate this, okay, 7 plus 6 13 18 18 and then 18 20 and total 4, so 24. Getting it right? So it's easy, but I see this lot of questions on this one, and each and every time I see these questions, but it's see how easy is this one to calculating that the value, okay, from the paste list. Got it? Any questions on this one? See, and if you want to, like, let's say that if you want to not have something, okay, if you don't want to include any like any list, okay, the value, that also you can put in when condition. So you can say that, okay, when, like, say you can create a when rule here. When, okay, it is asking to create, I don't know, here we need to give a when rule, I think. Okay, so using in which, so you can control also that using entries in which means that if you want to make, like, say that, okay, for this employee ID just calculate, then you can put a when rule here, I think. Okay, so that also we have an option, or I think we need to give expressions builder, so you can try that one. Got it? Any questions on this one? Okay, then I'll add it in the agenda here, that item also. Okay, so okay, I think we are done with the class. Okay, whatever that like I wanted to cover, we're done. So any questions before we close?
Yeah, like if you want to create embedded properties in declare expression, why it is getting error?
Where embedded properties, I didn't get you.
Like for example, I want to create declare expression for employee ID, which is in data class. In work class, I need to create in work class.
We created in work class only, right? Here you can see that.
But you created on total salary. That property is in work class only, right?
So okay, so in which property you want to create?
Any property in data class.
Yeah, that also you can do that. Sorry. But then you'll not get the sum, right? Because for the sum you need that list, right? In data class you can do that. If you want to do something else, let's say you want to append the first name and last name, that you can do that. Okay, but
yeah, anything, no issues. Not only sum, anything.
Yeah, that you can do that. So let's create a declare expression. Okay. And here I'll say that, let's say the full name. So let's create a property quickly, full name, in that class, full name. full name.
No, that property must be in data class. So
Wait, I'm creating in data class only. First I need to create a property, right? So you can see that I created property in data class. Now I want to set this value dynamically, right? So I'll create a declare expressions on this one. So I'll select, okay, first I'll select the class in data class, and I'll select dot full name, create an open, and here I'll just say, okay, I'll hard code some
no, if
value.
both are in data class, it will work. So, but I need, if both are in different, I need to create expression in work class. The property must be in data class. That's what my doubt. You created in expression also data class. So
Yeah, so like what is the problem? Create it in data class only, right? Let me see what you are saying. But then you need a, like, that page list will not work, right? So because you are referring to page, you need to refer a page property, then it will work.
Yeah, I will. Yes, but it didn't work, so that's why I got out.
Yeah,
Create one page like referring to the data class.
Decision declare expression. So you are saying, so then I need to create full name in that one, right? That class, because declare expressions, target property. See, target property should also be there in the that work class, right? But you asked me to create target property in full name in data class.
Okay, that's what my doubt. So target property must be in the
Target property
class
must
which
be.
we need.
So target property should be there wherever you want to set the value. If you want to set in that class, okay, right? So you created target property, let's say in data class, then this declare expression should also, because it will ask for the property, right? In which target property you want to set the value.
Okay, what I thought, I can select target property through page property.
No. Target property, no,
okay.
It will not work. No.
So it must be in the same class which we are with.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain page context, like why it is the page context?
Page context, let's say if you want to use a page, like page context, that employee page list or something, sorry, employee page or some other temp page you have, in that kind of situations you can use that. Page context. If I give, let's say we don't have any page property. Let me see if I have page property in my work class. Applicant, we have, I don't know if I have or not. I don't have property.
Can you just explain like why it is for, like when it will be useful? Like
So page is the same way, the way we use in data transform, right? We use a page context to access the variable from different things. So in that same way we can use the page context here also. The way we do for the data transform, right, to access the data from other page. Okay, so in the same way page context will be used here as well. Yeah. Try and let me know.
I have one doubt. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. I have another doubt. Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead quickly. Yeah, we'll close the class. It's more than 2 hours.
Case type class is belongs to class group, right?
Case type class belongs to class group. Yes.
So if you keep does not belongs to class group, will it work? Will it create instances or not?
No, because if you do not do, then you need to map to the table, right?
Okay. It will ask one new table. If you map it, will it create instances? If you keep does not belongs to class group in case type class.
Class directly in it. So if I'm saying does, no, I don't think so. If you want to like case inheriting from work dash, must belongs, so you can see that this message. So you cannot set your work case type class to like this.
Okay.
You can see clearly this message is coming.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thanks for attending. Okay, I'll include that item also. Okay, that sum, and then I'll upload that video also. So if you want to watch, you can do that. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.